Hi, this is Betsy Davis. My encounter begins here at this cinder block. On March 5th, it's about 40 degrees, and I'm going to take a walk around the perimeter of our property. This cinder block marks a spot where we've designated where we would like to post a cross. Give you a glance around the 360. There's a tree line, and to the west, a garage space, some sheds on some land that we leased. And yes, this big shadow is caused by a school bus. One of our community members likes to park her bus here during her break time from bus driving, and we allow it. Obviously, if there's a cross here, we'd want to move that. The back of the restaurant, tree line. I'm going to walk the whole perimeter of the property. I've never measured how far that is, but today I'm going to attempt to do that. We had two visions for this space right here. It's on the top of a hill, and it's in direct line with the highway that you saw to the south. So I'm facing north right now. To the right behind me is the highway, the biggest highway in the area. And two ideas for a cross. One, there was a piece of property owned by a community member. When he sold it to Hardee's, there was a cross on the property, and he offered it to us when we expressed interest in it to take it down before Hardee's officially owned the property and would have taken it down anyway. That's a long story in itself. Another idea for the cross is that our conference owned a building in Blackstone about 30 minutes from here, and there was a cross on that property that meant quite a bit in spirituality to pastors who went there for retreats and for people who walked Emmaus. And our conference at one point promised us the cross, but that property's never really traded hands, and we haven't been able to get the cross. But this would be the beginning of a spiritual walk in this encounter. I actually started walking this path. This is the highway. Let's take a walk now. I started walking this property about a year ago on Friday mornings at 8:30. I said I would walk this property if anybody would join me. And for weeks, nobody joined me. And I took that as a bad thing. So this is the restaurant, motel, part of Journey Community Center. We had high winds this week. It really affected our banners. We're in the process of getting a permanent sign. We just had it approved by the county a couple of weeks ago. This is my favorite spot on the property, this tree. It sits alone. We've put picnic tables under it. Down in the bottom, it's where we gather for our egg hunt. We had our first community egg hunt last spring. Second one's coming up in a few weeks. I walked this property by myself, and like I said, I thought of that as a bad thing, but it was good for me. I took it as a time to receive photographs and images from God. I've taught lots of classes on spirituality and art, several of them in photography for our community. They've always been well received. Everything from a 6-week class to a 2-hour class. Conference-wide, district-wide, and here in the community advertised in the local paper. I'd like for the encounter to include opportunities to meet with God. So we have a big vision that this is going to be transitional housing someday, and we've been discussing an idea of creating a walk around the perimeter of the property. Discussed a nature walk, a spiritual walk, an opportunity for people to meet God in creation. So it's been noisy here along the highway. Maybe this shouldn't be a part of the walk. It reminds me of where we are and why we're here. We want to be a part of the community. So there's a little dandelion trying to make it in this cold weather. Signs of spring. That's what I'm looking for today. I want to be aware of spring. I noticed these buds on this branch. It's coming. Little signs. Little signs of spring trying to pop out. The walk is easier in the winter. Summer it gets pretty thick. Our groundskeeper does a good job of keeping the grass in check. But in the woods here, it gets a little tricky. We'd like for our nature walk to go in and out of the woods. Along the perimeter of the property. Train. That's why our restaurant's called Trinity Station, because the train track is right across the street and highly visible. Adventure several months back for several reasons. I still take this walk whenever anybody new inquires about the property. Here we are again out of the woods. Our neighbor's dog, upset about me being here or saying good morning. several mornings I was joined by Mom and her 7-year-old. Ooh, look at these. Look at these ant hills. There are hundreds of them. Hundreds. Right here in this area. The 7-year-old was so excited about having my attention that she talked non-stop, kind of like I am in this video. Non-stop. And didn't pay any attention to where we were walking, how we were walking. And I missed so much of nature that day. And maybe my conversation with her was more important. And it didn't seem like necessary to take a walk around the property for that. She and I can enjoy ourselves inside where it's nice and warm. Then Fridays, I did my walk before the thrift store opened. That was intentional. Then Salvation Army, who picks up from us our donations once a week, started coming right during my walk. I'd have to discontinue my walk in order to help Salvation Army pick up their donations. And my one with nature time spun out of control. And I can see a walk that weaves in and out of these woods on these 14 acres. That it's a spiritual place for the people who will come and live in our transitional housing. And stories about the cycle of life. Nature stories, God stories, creation stories. I see plaques identifying oak trees, pine trees, things native to Virginia. Look at the acorns here. Boy, plenty of harvest. Plenty of harvest. A respite place for people to be quiet. Beautiful. I see it as a place for 4-H or scouts to get involved in the development of the signage, the identification of the plant life, the animal life, and I see scriptures on posts. Looking back from whence we've come, that's the transitional housing units. Right now, an abandoned motel. Lots of pines right here. We're going down the hill into a ravine. This is my old lady crossing right here. There's a tree to hold on to as I go down the hill. This is the way I always go. Nice steps right here for me. We could have a litter cleanup. Again, that windy day brought things from everywhere. Now this is flatter land. We see a sports field here one day. Won't affect the nature walk. The nature walk can still go around the perimeter, in and out of the woods. The hill. Coming out of the woods. This would be a great path for these photography and spirituality classes. This could be a place where they might have an encounter with God through creation, just as Jesus did. This shows the proximity of the transitional housing to the restaurant. Right here in this lush area, just at the bottom of the hill, between the two stakes, is where we anticipate a community garden. We're looking for a master gardener to take over and give us leadership, and that's something we'd like to start this spring. We have some volunteers who will plow it up for us. We just have to have a plan. The community garden would be another encounter with God. Jesus in his parables talked about planting and gardening and sowing seeds. We can connect it to Scripture. There's so much to learn from gardening. Some of our cooks in the restaurant want fresh herbs and vegetables. It's been a big debate of how to deal with the wildlife out here. I think the best suggestion I've heard yet is plant enough to share. Plant enough to share. Right in here, in this July, August, full of blackberries. Wild, delicious, succulent blackberries. And right up on the hill, where the school bus is where that cross and spiritual place with benches might be located in our vision. Right now, we own 3 crosses, wooden crosses we obtained from a church that closed in another county, and they always put them up at Easter time. And now you can't see where I've walked, but on a hill behind those trees was where we envisioned the crosses. That's the field with the rolling hills is where we have our community egg hunt. We've been doing that for half a dozen years, but this will just be our 2nd year at this property. Last year, a neighbor brought his drone over and captured some beautiful footage of the children and the egg hunt. I'll see if I can incorporate those in this video. So now we're in the lowland. This is a swampy place in the summer, behind the garage. This leaf reminds me of studying the big tree that I showed in the beginning, how I realized last year how every leaf was different on that tree. There was no one set pattern. They were all part of one big tree, but they were all different. What a lesson that I used in a children's message. All part of one big tree, but we all look different. The diversity of that tree.